Hello and welcome to another game of Eldfall Chronicles. This time I will be playing once again the scenario Open Hostilities, and the factions will be the Sand Kingdoms as in my previous games, against the Helion League as you have seen in my last video. So basically we have for the Helion League the Flame Shaper with Companion of Helion. We have the Citadel with the Hyperia Providence, and we have the Helion Expatriate as the leader of the party with the 3 upgrades, First Aid, the Search Order, as well as the Adept Shaper to give him the Art of Enchanting 2 instead of 1, therefore ignoring armor. Maybe this will be not as useful as usual. But we have for the Sand Kingdoms the Academy Expeditioner with the Elemental Lineage Fire. Since I only have 1 upgrade card for this, the Pharaoh's Outrider also has the Elemental Lineage Fire upgrade. And the Leader and the Task Mage Explorer for the Sand Kingdoms with the First Aid and Pouch upgrade. So, I already rolled for their schemes. And sorry, not the Helion League, let's start with the Sand Kingdoms. We have appear weak when you are strong, which means they are able to receive 1 victory point for every wound that they deal to enemy models with melee attacks to a maximum of 3. This is the 14. And the 19 is the other Sand Kingdom specific scheme, which is Steadfast Expansion. Receive 1 victory point to the maximum of 3 for every party member beyond the middle of the field at the end of the game, not including your summoned creatures. Since this party is very focused on range attacks with the exception of the Pharaoh's Outrider, and he's a, let's say, average fighter, slightly above but not a lot. Therefore I think they will go with the with the second one, Steadfast Expansion, so that they have to see where they're about to infiltrate, or expand. And for the Helion League, they have rolled a 14, which is Virtuous Commander. It is also a Helion League specific one. And Virtuous Commander means that receiving 1 victory point for every one of your models not in the incapacitated or dead state to the maximum of 3 victory points. So therefore, their mission is to stay alive. Stay alive for this one and expand for the Sand Kingdoms. With that said, let's see who is allowed to decide which side and edge they will use. The Helion Expatriate with a moral of 16 starts. It's a 20 in total. The Task Mage Explorer with moral of 12, 25. Therefore, the Sand Kingdoms are allowed to decide if they want to decide on the edge and the deployment, or if they want to decide if they want to go first or second. And they want to decide if they go first or second. Therefore, the Helion League may decide which table edge they actually prefer. And as I put it here, I think the Helion League will decide for the table edge, and they will decide on an alternating deployment. They will use this edge as their starting deployment. And they choose the altering altering deployment. With that, the Sand Kingdoms, looking at their perspective, the Sand Kingdoms decide that they want to go first this time. Therefore, Sand Kingdom starts, and the Helion League has chosen this table edge. So I will set up, and I'll see you at the first turn of the Sand Kingdoms. For the Sand Kingdoms' first turn, as you can see, I already did some measuring. In the strategic phase, the Pharaoh's Outrider casts Arcane Shield onto himself, therefore armor 5 and immune to critical hits. But the Academy Expeditioner will be the first one to activate. He will use the run action to move up to here. I pre-measured this, so therefore this is 10 inches. Next, once again, the Academy Expeditioner will activate. He will move up to 5 inches, getting up to here. the Helion League, the Citadel Guard would have been able to activate, but she decided not to. On the other hand, let's just change this. She will use a dodge action and dodge 2.5 inches. 2 inches, sorry. A little bit closer here. She can need all the movement she can get. And with this, the Academy Expeditioner is within 16 inches up to this die. And he wants to cast Fireball, which will basically be placed here. Will hit the Flame Shaper and the Citadel Guard. But the Citadel Guard has an ability, I think it's called Immunity. Let's just have a quick look at it. Oh, sorry, Resistance 2, which provides her with immunity against sorcery and enchantment spells. And since the Fireball is an enchantment, the Fireball will not hurt the Citadel Guard. The Flame Shaper has a different problem, because she's unable to react the Academy Expeditioner, since she has no line of sight because of the building, and the Academy Expeditioner is outside of her awareness, or half her awareness of 5. She's unable to react. Therefore, let's see if the Academy Expeditioner is able to cast a Fireball with a 14 or less. It's an 8. I will save the damage roll for the Citadel Guard because she's immune, but the Flame Shaper is in danger, therefore needing 14 or less. It's 20. With this, the Flame Shaper managed to escape the Fireball. So, next, the Ferrous Outrider will activate, and the Ferrous Outrider will also use a run action with 5 inches, this are 3, and from the 3 inches, 3 to 5, 4, 5, and once again, moving up to here. And with this, he will use, a walk action to get up to here with his second activation. And does he want to cast anything onto himself or in general? Give me a moment to see. Actually, yes, he wants to try and cast Flame Skin onto himself. Flame Skin means that if an enemy attacks him within 1 inch and hits him, the model suffers a power 10 hit with a burn 1 quality. Afterwards, this enchantment is removed, so basically just a defense spell. With a 4, he's able to cast it onto himself. Let me just put a token. I will use the Warrior token for their defense stance, just to mark out that he has the Flame Skin enchantment onto himself. And now let's see what we can do with the Task Mage Explorer. She will declare, I think she will declare a walk action, move up to here. And what will she cast? Is she able to cast something? Let me just check. Confuse target, ward, reduct damage, hasten. Yeah. The enchantment. She will cast the enchantment ward onto the Academy Expeditioner. With a 9, this it was successful. Let me just have a look which token. Let's take this one. And with her next activation and final activation, she will move again 5 inches up in cover, and she will cast ward onto herself. Now, here we go with another 4. So, this was the first turn for the Sand Kingdoms. A lot of movement. As you can see, the Academy Expeditioner just moved from behind the tree 15 inches up to here. And with the maybe haste spell of the Ferrous Outrider, he would be also even quicker. But since the Ferrous Outrider also has the Ranger class, he he has the Rogue class, not Ranger class. Here it stays Rogue. The Expatriate has the Ranger class. So with this, no additional movement for now. Let me prepare the first turn of the Helion League, and I'll let you join then. In the first turn of the Helion League, it will begin in the strategic phase with the Heron Expatriate casting Melting Touch onto himself, so he gains Ignore Armor and Burn 1. And as you can see here, I also pre-measured a few possible movement for the Citadel Guard. If the Heron Expatriate would decide to use his search order, the Citadel Guard would be able to move 4 inches to either of these 2 positions, then spend a run action to get to either of these 2. And here, let me just put a 2 here, the Ferrous Outrider would be quite in danger, or maybe even a melee. And this one are 12 inches, therefore this distance towards the Academy Expeditioner is 3 inches, so the Citadel Guard would be able to get into close combat with the, I would assume, currently most dangerous piece, so he overextended a little bit. But since this, she would also be able to get into contact with him with just a run action. But to make sure that she will definitely reach the Academy Expeditioner, I think the Heron Expatriate will really use the Expeditionary Tactics Search Order, which allows 3 party members with the affiliation Helion League, which is all of them, to perform one of the following movements: walk, climb, jump. And since it is in a strategic phase, there will be no reactions. And with this, we start with the search order, the Citadel Guard, the one which these tactics basically focus around, moves up to here. Next, the Flame Shaper will move 1, 2, 3, 4 inches and another 2, just repositioning the building. And the Heron Expatriate will move 1, 2 up to here, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let me just get him. 1, 2, 3, getting here, 4, 5. They are basically in fireball position, but this will be very difficult if everything goes according to plan, since the Citadel Guard will activate next, and he's only allowed to react to her. Actually, before I do that, let me just double check. Yeah, she would be within fireball range, so therefore she will just move here to be sure that she's outside of fireball range, because when the Academic Expeditioner would react and would cast fireball, he could target her even if she's immune. But since the fireball has a large area of effect, the fireball would be impossible able to hit the Flame Shaper, and I will not. At least I'm trying to improve my positioning game in Eldfall Chronicles, therefore I think this is a little bit safer. Now starting with the Citadel Guard, as I pre-measured, 6 inches up to here, and another 2, therefore he will move up to here. And this is the moment where the Academy Expeditioner will spend a reaction to use a dodge action and move 2.5 inches away. 1, 2, 2.5. Actually, let's correct this. Moving up to here. Even if he has the ward spell, he does not want to get into the engaged state. And let's see here. These are 6 inches, 7, 8, okay. She will react again. Another run action. The Academy Expeditioner will spend another token for a dodge action. So basically, as soon as she runs into contact with him, he will use a dodge action and moves out of contact to cancel the engaged state. So, in the center of the Sand Kingdoms, the Citadel Guard poses a threat, I think. Not sure right now, but at least it appears to be. Now, the Helion Expatriate will use his activation, and he will use also a run action, running up to 6 inches, at up to 10 inches, closer to the Ferris Outrider. Now let's see. The Flame Shaper will spend will she use a run action or will she use a normal walk? I'm thinking if she moves here, she would be able to see the Ferris Outrider, but it would be with a modifier, and she would be quite close to the Helion Expatriate. Therefore, I think she will use a run action to move at the double 6 inch up to here. So 6 inches up to here, 2 inches here, and 1, 2, 3, 4 inches that she runs basically around the building, getting into a good firing position. This allows the Ferris Outrider to react, who will dodge. He will dodge 2.5 inches, so 1.5 inches back and 1 inch to the side. So here we go. She's still able to... is she? Yeah, I would say she is, because as you can see here, half of his base is visible. So therefore, she's still able to attack. And with 5 inches, the Helion Expatriate, let me just double check. Here we have 4 inches, 1 inch above. Yep. The Helion Expatriate will activate. He will just jump over all of this to get into contact with the Ferris Outrider. The Ferris Outrider will he dodge? He has an agility of 12 and a defense of 11. Yeah. He will spend his activation point to use a dodge action. And therefore, if the Helion Expatriate hits the Ferris Outrider, the chain attack ability of the Flame Shaper activates. But for this, let's see if the Helion Expatriate is able to hit him. Therefore, offense of 13, therefore 13 or less. 16 and 20, both are a miss, therefore no hit. And the Ferris Outrider will dodge 2.5 inches closer to the Flame Shaper. So now the Flame Shaper will activate again. She's definitely outside of the 12 inches of her awareness towards the Citadel Guard. So yeah, basically she has to be around. Let's just see how far the reach is within 12 inches. Sorry, once again fumbling with the building. 12 inches should be around here at the corner, so she will risk it. She will not risk it. She'll use her activation and use a run. 6 and
12 running up to here. While she's doing this, the Task Mage Explorer will use her reaction and try to make a snipe shot with her mana burst at the Flame Shaper as soon as the Flame Shaper is around here. It has a range of 14 inches. Let's see if it's actually within range. So it's 6, 12, another 2. So I think with her marking, the Flame Shaper is actually out of reach for the Task Mage Explorer. Therefore, no reaction. We had a short confrontation, or attempted confrontation. The Citadel Guard moved from here 4 inches, 8 inches, 12, 20 inches, and is really deep in the Sand Kingdom's territory. So let me prepare the Sand Kingdom second turn, and I'll let you join. The Helion League second turn begins with the Ferrous Outrider casting Burning Blade, Burning Touch onto himself, Spectral Blade, the Elder variation of the melee enchantment, which gives him Ignore Armor and Stagger. I decided to use Stagger in the chance to steal some activation points or reduce the activation points. Next, the actual first activation will be of the Academy Expeditioner, as you can see here. And he will use his movement to walk up to this position, because I pre-measured it. This will be within 16 inches of the Flame Shaper. And he will cast Arcane Bolt, which has a reach of 16 inches. And this forces the Flame Shaper to react and use a dodge activation, because she only has a reach of 14 inches with her Ignite. But the Citadel Guard will also activate, and she will also use a dodge. I will just do her reaction first, because the Citadel Guard wants to dodge here to get 2 inches closer and maintain her threat level, or maintain to be a threat. So now the Arcane Bolt of the Academy Expeditioner has a strike value of 2 because of its stamina, his stamina, 14 or less, 4 and 17. He will use his Sorcerer class to reroll the 17. It's an 18, not good enough. Now the Flame Shaper needs 12 or less because of her agility. With the 12, it's just enough to successfully dodge the Academy Expeditioner's attack, and she will dodge the 3 inches up to here. So with this, I assume she's this turn safe. Thinking what I will do there, the Ferrous Outrider will activate next. He will move within 1 inch, since both of them has swords. Therefore, these two are now engaging each other. Since he will attack the Helion Expatriate, who has the Molten Blade, both of these will ignore the arm of the other, and they will both decide to attack. So we have confrontation. Just having a look at it. So the Ferrous Outrider has an offense of 14 or less to hit. 6 and 5, these are 2 good rolls. The Helion Expatriate has only 1 attack, needing 13 or less. He has a 16, which is not enough. Therefore the Ferrous Outrider hits 2 times. And he needs 13 or less to wound, ignoring the armor because of the Spectral Blade. 14 and 11, this is 1 wound at the Helion Expatriate. I am unable to recall which one is with the toughness. I think the stagger ability instantly steals. Stun is stunned with the toughness, and here we are with the stagger. Hits loses 1 activation point at the end of the trade. Therefore, the Helion Expatriate loses his activation point, which was the whole reason why I decided to use the stagger ability, the Spectral Blade. And now let me just look up, because the Ferris Outrider has also the Rogue class. Yeah, where are the classes? Trample, Trades, Backstab. Here they are. So here's the Rogue. Once per activation, on at least 1 successful hit against a target, the Rogue may perform 1 agility roll. If successful, the Rogue hits gain knockdown. So I will just retroactively will do that. Yes, the Ferris Outrider has an agility of 12. He failed. So the Helion Expatriate is still standing. And seeing this, he will activate again with his last activation and tries to attack the Helion Expatriate again. Let me just check. Maybe the Flame Shaper is within reach. 12 inches is up to the base. Yeah, she's within reach. She will activate. Is she? No, okay. She has no line of sight because of the Helion Expatriate. He's in the way. She's unable to react. Therefore, no snipe shot at the Ferris Outrider to attack of the Ferris Outrider. 17 and an 18, not enough. Both miss. So he's engaged. He wounded the Helion Expatriate with his Spectral Blade. But this might be an interesting confrontation. Now, coming back to the problem, as I will call the Citadel Guard for the Sentient. I said in my last video that the Citadel Guard is basically immune to all the range attacks of these two, and only the Ferris Outrider is, realistically, I think, able to wound her. So basically, these two have to avoid her at all costs, which is maybe a problem because these two are quite in the corner. So, the Task Match Explorer will begin, and they have to move around her. So, she will use a run action, and let's just get a little bit more distance between these two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Escaping here and just splitting up to draw the attention of her, or try to split her attention. 2 inches. 2 inches is up to here. 3 inches. Come on. Yeah. 1, 2, and 3. Up to here. He will use a run. She will react. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Moving up to here. As I said, she will react. And she will keep, or try to keep, the Academy Expeditioner busy. Therefore, the Task Mage Explorer. The Task Mage Explorer will activate. She will try to avoid getting close to. Okay. Her position right now is, I think, the best she can do. And she is short of. Yeah, okay, she is within 14 inches. She will just activate and try to cast Mana Burst. Let me just check. Mana Burst has a strike of 1. Mana Burst at the Helion Expatriate. Snipe shot. With a 3, it is enough. Needing 14 power of 14, armor of 6, 8 or less to wound. It's a 14, not enough. So with this, the Sand Kingdoms still have a problem with the Citadel Guard, but they were able to wound the Helion Expatriate because of the Spectral Blade spell, which just stole an activation point. Let me prepare the Helion League third turn, and I'll let you join. The Helion League's third turn will start with the Helion Expatriate using his artificial class to cast Molten Blade, a Molten Touch onto himself, so therefore ignoring armor and get the burn 1 quality, which is actually what he's aiming for to hurt him. Or on the other hand, let me just think about it again. Burning Touch has Sweep 1 and Burn 1. Yeah, now he will stay with Melting Touch because ignore armor. The Ferrous Outrider still has an armor value of 1. This might be the difficult because the the Helion League only has a power of 12 on her offensive ones, or even on the defense one. But let's start with the first activation. The Citadel Guard will activate, focusing down the Academic Expeditioner, who will use a dodge action to move half, 1-2 inches back, which is still within 8 inches. This is why I pre-measured this with this within the Citadel Guard's range. And I will just continue with them. This is why I removed the activation tokens, because the Citadel Guard will attack with her bludgeon, with her small bludgeon, while the Academic Expeditioner tries a dodge action with his agility of 10. And the Citadel Guard has an offense of 12. She's far outside of her 10 inches to the other soldier. So, at 10 for the Academic Expeditioner, it's a 3. The Citadel Guard with a strike of 1, needing natural 1 for a critical hit, it's a 12. Usually she would have hit, but in this case, the Academic Expeditioner was able to dodge, and he will dodge 2.5 inches away, trying once again to stay outside of her reach. So, now, let's see what we can do here. With 6 inches, she's able to, let's stay a little bit in cover, but in this position, she's not able to see. What I'm trying to do is getting her into a position to attack him, preferably 2 times, but this will be not possible in this position, and I will try to avoid to get a snipe shot of her mana burst to maybe incapacitate her with only 1 hit point, but this one seems good enough. She shouldn't have any line of sight, and from this position the Flame Shaper should be able to see the Academic Expeditioner, and from here we have enough reach with 14 inches to be close enough to hit the Academic Expeditioner. So she will use a run action to get here. Yeah, just 1 activation point left. And with this, she's also able to see the Ferrous Outrider. Therefore, she can also maybe use a chain action, a chain attack to do some snipe shots at him. So, but with this, she will spend her next activation to move another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches. Now let's get here. Now we are talking about unobscured line of sight. And she will cast her Ignite spell at the Academic Expeditioner. So within 14 inches. Or let me double check because of the 12-inch range of her awareness. Otherwise, okay, she will move a little bit closer here to be within the range of another soldier. And actually have now 14 inches and a power of 14. So, but before that, she has to hit the Academic Expeditioner. Now, with the Companion of Helion, she is powered up by 2, her intelligence of 12 increases to power of intelligence of 14. 14 or less to hit. 5 and 8, both hit. Power of 14. The Academic Expeditioner has an armor of 4, therefore 8 or less to wound. At 2 and a 7, and since the Ignite has the burn quality, each actual wound has a burn with a power of 14, ignoring armor. These are 4 wounds at the Academic Expeditioner, and it's the first dead and incinerated model, and it is removed from the battlefield. He's burned to the ground. That was spectacular. For a 14, 15 recruitment point. Just double check. Here we might see it if it gets into focus. 15. I hope you can see it, otherwise you have just to believe me. Come on, get into focus. Okay, it's not possible. Here you can... Yeah, it is. 15 points. Just eliminated 22 points with 1 amazing attack. Yeah, okay. Let's continue. We have another confrontation, or possible 2. So, the Helion Expatriate will attack, and the Ferrous Outrider will try to dodge because of the better agility score, 12 or less. And 11 is enough to dodge. The Helion Expatriate, 3 and 15, not enough to get natural run, a critical hit. The Ferrous Outrider tries to get closer towards the Flame Shaper and cancelling the engaged state, but now the Helion Expatriate will once again activate, getting within 1 inch, actually getting in base-to-base contact, because the chain attack ability says that it ignores the friendly fire rule, and this way he will be protected from the Taskmaster Explorer, who will react to dodge a little bit closer towards the happening, just to be able, in case that her teammate will still be incapacitated, to use a hastened recovery to revive him. But now there's another confrontation. The Ferrous Outrider once again will use the dodge action, also in hope to damage maybe the Flame Shaper. Helion Expatriate, 10 and 19. The dodge is a 3. Once again, enough. So now he will use his 2.5 inches to dodge here. Get out of the engaged state. And now, this was an amazing turn for the Flame Shaper, who just incinerated the Academic Expeditioner with a basic spell. And I'll prepare the, I think it is, let me just double check, 1, 2, 3, the 4th turn of the Sand Kingdoms. I'll see you then. First of all, I have to correct myself. This is not the 4th, but the 3rd turn. I just recounted my recordings. So, the 3rd turn of the Sand Kingdoms, the Ferrous Outrider will use his Artificer class to cast Hasten onto himself. And this is because he wants to get within 5 inches and within close range, or within base-to-base contact with the Flame Shaper. So, now they are engaged. And I will just start with these 2. The Ferrous Outrider will attack without any enchantments to increase his offense, but this might still be enough to down the Flame Shaper, who just wants to dodge. The Flame Shaper dodging, it's a natural run, therefore the Ferrous Outrider needing natural ones too. He fails to do so. So the Flame Shaper dodges 3 inches towards this direction, Yeah, natural 1. I was just thinking because the Ferrous Outrider attacked at her back, but this is within her awareness range, so here there. No engage state. And then the Task Mage Explorer activates. She moves 5 inches, a little bit closer, and she will cast actually, let's try something new. Sorry. She will cast the Confused Target spell. Mind Game and Ricochet 1. The target model becomes confused until the start of the caster's next strategy phase. When casting this spell, the caster may spend 1 mana point to gain +2 strike. It has a range of 16 inches. Maybe she will just convert her if it's enough range. 12. I think. Yeah, okay, let me just move her 5 inch back. Should have been somewhere around here, which is still within range. Okay, she will convert one of her activation points, the first one, into a mana point, and then spend the mana point to cast Confused Target at the Helion Expatriate. And let's see what the trait Mind Game. Come on into focus. A dodge against an attack with this trait must be performed with an intelligence instead of the agility. If a model suffers a hit with this trait, the hit model must perform an intelligence roll instead of attacker performing a damage roll. If the hit roll fails, the attack are applied and damage is dealt. So this is Mind Game. And the Confused state. These are the classes, skills. Confused we have here. Let's just see here. A confused model in this state has half offense, defense, accuracy, intelligence, agility, and moral. So, sorry. With this, instead of a confused target with a strike value of 1, confused target has a strike value because of the spent mana point of 3. But she's still able to move. I just recalled. Just move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Converting her first activation point and spending her second activation to cast Confused Target onto the Helion Expatriate, who tries to dodge it using his intelligence. So, let's see how many hits. 14 or less for Confused Target at 2 and 8. Now the Helion Expatriate has an intelligence of 10. With a 3, it is enough to dodge all the hits. And now, since the Confused Target also has the Ricochet ability or trait, let's see what this actually does. If it's needing a hit or if it just in general ricochets. Come on, just 1 page. Construct, infiltrate, and burn. Construct crippling. Where is it? This is something I hope will be improved in future rulebooks to make a little bit more viewable, searchable. Don't know what it is called, but to make it easier to look up the rules, because now with all the classes, which is not alphabetically ordered, it is quite difficult to find what you're looking for if you don't know where it is. And since I'm not used to ricochet, I was looking for the C for confused, but it's R, and then it should be here ricochet. Hit by an attack with this trait, the nearest model within 5 inches gets hit with the same attack. Okay, so you need to hit it. Since he dodged it, there's now ricochet. And now he will walk into contact with the Flame Shaper also to attack her. The Flame Shaper will dodge, and the Helion Expatriate will also dodge. Because the Helion Expatriate wants to get a little bit closer, 2.5 inches, which is still outside of the 1-inch reach of her sword. The Ferrous Outrider, once again, without any offense buffs, tries to attack. 14 is enough to hit. A dodge with a 9 is also enough. The Flame Shaper, the dice are with her this game. She is really making the most out of this. So, nothing happened. Basically, the Sand Kingdoms tried in their third turn to put some wounds onto the Helion Expatriate and the Flame Shaper, but it didn't work. So let me prepare the Helion League's third turn, and I'll let you join. The Helion League's third turn begins with the Helion Expatriate casting Molting Touch onto himself using his Artificial Claws. And now he will also activate, trying to attack or engage the Ferrous Outrider, who will use a dodge action to avoid the attack, hopefully. So, the Sword of the Helion Expatriate, 13 or less, 10 and a 7. The Ferrous Outrider dodging, 12 or less, 7, enough to dodge. He will dodge a little bit closer, still trying to stay to his primary target. Next, the Helion Expatriate will activate again. Getting close. Was she able to cast a Mana Burst? But since he's moved into base contact, she will not risk it. Same procedure as before. 13 or less to hit. 2 natural ones. This might be very difficult for the Ferrous Outrider. Dodging. 16, he failed it this time. Armor of 1 because he used hastened last turn. Therefore 11 or less to wound. 17 and 14. Unable to wound the Ferrous Outrider, who is now able to dodge, not getting too close to the Citadel Guard, 1.5 inch. He dodges here. Now let's see, what do we want to do? What do we do? I think the Flame Shaper will activate. She will use a walk action, get into cover here, and she will cast her Ignite onto the Task Mage. The Task Mage Explorer will use her agility of 12, or will she attack? She will try to get into confrontation with a Mana Burst. So 2 attacks for the Flame Shaper, 1 attack for the Task Mage Explorer, and the Flame Shaper is definitely within her soldier reach, so boosted to 14. 14 and 4, 2 hits. Needing a 14 herself, it's a 12. She loses the confrontation because of the 14 of the Flame Shaper. Her Companion of Helion has paid off. And now, needing a 14 or less to wound because the Task Mage Explorer has no armor value. It's a 17. It is not enough to wound the Task Mage Explorer. Therefore, the Flame Shaper will just repeat it. And the Task Mage will actually use a dodge action to get a little bit more distance of the Citadel Guard. So, the dodge is a 20, it's failed. 14 or less, 5 and 2 is enough. Needing 14 or less to wound. 13 and a 19. She is incapacitated, but since it has a burn quality, 14 or less, it's a 19. So, she's still allowed to dodge. 2.5 inches. But still, with the Ignite spell, she is burned, or not burned, but she's wounded, and since she only has 1 wound, she's incapacitated. Luckily, she has the first aid upgrade, so she gets up next turn. But this does not stop the Citadel Guard to use a run action. 6, 7, 8. And then to use a walk action to walk 4 inches into close combat and attack the Ferris Outrider. Since it's within soldier range, her offense of 12 is boosted to 13 or less. Natural 1. Armor piercing would also have half the armor of 1, so therefore toughness 12 plus 3 for the power, 15 or less to wound, and she is able to wound the Ferris Outrider. So, and since the Helion Expatriate is not engaged, he's actually able to use his Ranger class and move 5 inches up towards the Taskmage Explorer. So, Taskmage Explorer is downed, Ferris Outrider is wounded. Let me just prepare now the 4th turn of the Sand Kingdoms, and I'll see you then. In a combat that he does not want to be, the Ferris Outrider decided to use his artificial class to cast Arcane Shield onto himself, and he will begin his activation where the Citadel Guard will react. He will try to dodge, she will try to cuddle him once again with a small bludgeon. The dodge 7 is successful, and since it's her reactive roll, she has a defense of 16 plus 1 for the soldier, 17 or less, needing natural 1. She misses. Actually, since she also has the Sentinel class, she gets a second strike with a 3. This would have been very difficult, but she failed. So, he is allowed to dodge 2.5 inches away from her. And now with 5 inches, he's unable to get into close combat with her. He will use a run action and playing for the objective 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Trying to stay alive, scoring some victory points by getting in the opposing half, which might actually be the best idea. So she will also activate. She will also use a run action, and the Stew will also react. The Flame Shaper will attack before she moves, and the Helion Expatriate will dodge. He will dodge 2.5 inches closer. And now the Flame Shaper won't ignite. This is cocked, so it's a 6, it's a hit. 14 or less, it's a 3. She's down once again. And with a 3, she's also burned and therefore removed from the game. Yeah, this basically ends the 4th turn of the Sand Kingdoms, because only the Ferris Outrider is left. The other 2 were burned to ashes by the Flame Shaper, and I'll prepare the Helion League's 4th turn, and I'll see you. 4th turn of the Helion League. It starts with the Helion Expatriate casting Melting Touch onto himself, just to have Ignore Armor once more, and the burn quality at his melee attacks. Actually, beginning the turn does the Flame Shaper, who has a kill count of 2 out of 3 this game. She will activate Walking Heal. The Ferris Outrider will try to dodge her attack. So, Ignite, 14 or less, because she's within range of the Citadel Guard. 8 and 14 to hit. Dodging on a 12 or less. It's a 2, enough to dodge. And trying to get out of line of sight, 2.5. Here we are. But the Flame Shaper, before she activates, the Citadel Guard will activate. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. Just so that the Flame Shaper can activate again, walking 6 inches within protector range of the Citadel Guard, attacking again the Ferrous Outrider. Once the same procedure as before. Ignite, hits with a 2, and dodging with the 9, it is enough to dodge. 2.5 inches. Now all that is left is the Helion Expatriate, who will activate for the first time, walking 6 inches and 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. Activating our second time. He will run again 6 inches, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now, since it's the Citadel Guard will activate 6, 7, 8. And now the Ferrous Outrider, the Helion Expatriate, will use his Ranger class to move another 5 inches and get into the engaged state with the Ferrous Outrider. I will immediately continue with the 5th turn of the Sand Kingdoms, which is basically only the Ferrous Outrider left. He will start by casting, he will cast Spectral Blade onto himself and attack the Helion Expatriate, who will react with a confrontation, attack 2 also. The Citadel Guard will react by using a dodge action to get a little bit closer, and the Flame Shaper will actually not react, because this might have been friendly fire, but she will react and also dodge. So he walked and the reaction, so this dodge is here. Her dodge, she's dodging a little bit closer. Here we are. Now the confrontation, 2 attacks, offense of 14. 2 hits, the Helion Expatriate, 13 or less. 6, not enough. 1 attack comes through. And since he ignores armor, it's only 14 or less. 13 or less, sorry. With a 16, it is not enough. But since the Helion Expatriate was hit, he is staggered, losing his second activation. Does he really want to get into confrontation with the Citadel Guard? I will just do it because no. Let's at least get 1 victory point. He will attack the Helion Expatriate, who is unable to react. 14 or less, 1 hit, 14 or less. It's a 4. The Helion Expatriate is incapacitated, but since it's now the Helion League's activation and the Helion Expatriate still has the first aid kit, or upgrade, he will just get 1 hit point back and will gain his activation points, similar to the other 2, who will get their activation points back. And now let's start with the Citadel. He will cast Melting Touch onto himself. Let's start with the Helion Expatriate, who attacks with 2 strikes. 4 and a 3. He is dodging. It's an 8, enough to dodge. He's unable to walk away, so he will just stay there. Let's repeat it 1 more time. 2 strike with the sword. From the Helion, it was a 10 and a 5. Both hits. Dodging. It's an 18, not enough. Ignoring armor, so the 4 is enough to wound, the 16 isn't. Reduced to 0. Burn. 12 or less. And he's also removed from the battlefield because of the burn quality. So, I think I do not have to count the victory points. All three are still alive. Let me see. These 22, 22. This one is also above 20. So for the victory conditions, above 22, 3. Leader is down. So I think this will be 15. Actually, he's only. Is he 19? Let me see. 18, 22, 22. And here we are 17, 18, 21. And with 21, we are actually not above the threshold. So these are 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 victory points for the Helion League. And no victory points for the Sand Kingdoms. So it's a clear victory for the Helion League. Let me just clean up the table and I will meet you at the recap. So, after talk of the game, I think Open Hostility is very, common in wargaming. So therefore, this is basically equal pointed factions getting onto the board and hitting each other with secondary objectives next to, basically removing models. So I think it's a good scenario for comparing factions. And as expected, avoiding the Citadel Guard was quite difficult, despite her movement of only 4. But with two run actions, it's still 16 inches, even if she's just there to threat him. I don't know if it was a tactical mistake to try to avoid her. I have to see how she does in other games and how the other factions play. As I said previously in my other games, still learning. The Flame Shaper really put her weight down. She incinerated the Academic Expeditioner and the Taskmage Explorer. The Helion Expatriate put up a good fight, but I think from the faction of the Helion League, he was the weakest model this time. Simply because the Citadel Guard, was such a huge threat for the Sand Kingdoms, because basically these two have to rely on their range, especially the Academic Expeditioner with his fireball. The Flame Shaper was lucky that the first fireball was unable to wound her, otherwise the game would have, I think, take another turn for the Sand Kingdoms. The Pharaoh's Outrider put in somewhere. He not only wounded the Helion Expatriate, he was able to put him down once, and then he was also able to resist the other 3 models for a long time. So I think the Pharaoh's Outrider is my MVP this game. And the Flame Shaper a close second. The cheapest model of the Helion League, with only 15 points, was able to remove, I think, 43 points. I think he was 22, she was 21. So, and she was also able to threaten the Pharaoh's Outrider this time around, even if she is quite fragile. But I had fun playing Eldfall Chronicles again, and I think I have to paint a few more miniatures, maybe even some true leaders, as I alluded in a previous video. So, but I think that I will give the Helion League another attempt at the Heart of Obsidian campaign first, because I think the last 2 games against the Empire of Soga and now against the Sand Kingdoms gave me quite some ideas and insights about how to play the Helion League, especially with the 3 models. And I'm not sure right now, but I think the next time you will see another attempt at Heart of Obsidian. Maybe the Helion League is able to get past the first quest. Until then, have fun gaming.